Yo, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another MathMech and Code Talker video. In this video, I'm going to showcase how to do the V-LAN Hydra combo. So the reason why this is relevant is because in my recent video, I kind of mentioned how this card is what makes this deck so versatile. So ideally, you would never need to rely on this because the reason that this deck is so consistent is because we play 3 Lady Debug as well as 3 Microcoder. And then, of course, you've got Code Generator and Dotscaper to improve that consistency. But for this example, I want you to ignore the fact that we have mathemechs circular, and I'm going to get rid of maxi because it's going to keep triggering. So it's going to be very... Oh, yes, I can get rid of Ash as well. That's good. Because that was going to keep triggering the entire turn. That was going to be really annoying. So I want you to ignore the fact that we have circular, because what I'm trying to describe is a scenario where you've bricked, essentially, and you've only opened up with Lady Debug and Microcoder and no other cards like Small World to search for the rest of your combo, essentially, right? So without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into it. Now, you can open with Microcoder or Code Generator. It doesn't matter because off of Lady Debug, we're going to search the alternative. So in this case, Code Generator. Now we're going to go into Code Talker plus Code Generator. Amazing. Now we're going to go off of Code Generator. We're going to send Dotscaper, so it summons itself. Now, it's really important here. You need to summon Transcode Talker. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier for yourself in the long run. So you want to summon Transcode Talker on this side, because we're going to have V-LAN Hydra be underneath it. So now that we've secured the Signet conflict line, fantastic. Now we just have to worry about getting the mathmechs back. So now we go Code Talker, and now we use the 2 to go into V-LAN Hydra. So if you put V-LAN Hydra, if you put Transcode Talker over here, V-LAN Hydra would also have to be here as well. And the reason why it's annoying is because look at where the arrows are pointing. Left, none to the right. So when we summon Code Talker inverted, which I'll touch on in a minute, it's a lot easier to have it on this side and you can use more combo options to do so. So what I'm going to do is walk through the ability now. So the gains 300 attack is not relevant at all. The one in blue is actually the one that's relevant. So the one that we're about to activate makes sense. So it's quite nice that they've highlighted it for us. So essentially, you contribute a link 3 or lower monster. In this case, it will be link 3 for us because of Transcode Talker. And we will get 3 tokens because it's tokens up to the number of the link rating of the monster that we tributed. So we will get 3 tokens from Transcode Talker. Doesn't matter where you put them because we're going to get rid of them anyway. But just remember that the cost and the condition of this is that you cannot summon link 3 for the rest of this turn. So we will not be going into our heat soul line. But I'll touch on that in a moment. Now, using 2 of the tokens, you're going to use you're going to make Cyburst Wicked, sorry. So you can put it here. And now you're going to summon Lingaribo using the last token underneath one of these 2. And now you trigger Cyburst Wicked's effect. We'll banish Lady Debug. We have 2 others in the deck, so it's quite good. Now you always want to add Nabla to your hand. It's really important that you always add Nabla. It's very important though. So now we're going to go into Code Talker inverted. Now the reason why I wanted V-LAN Hydra over here is because we have various ways of doing it. We can use V-LAN Hydra and Lingaribo and then summon it underneath Wicked. Or we can use Cyburst Wicked and Lingaribo and summon it besides Hydra. If Hydra was here, because you put transcode here, it means that you have to use Hydra and Lingaribo because you cannot summon inverted here or here because the link arrows point left and right, as you will notice here. And you need either one of these, not both. You can be both. It would be great if you could, but you only need one of these available for Nabla to be summoned. So for the sake of example, we're just going to use Lingaribo and Hydra. Summon Code Talk inverted here, and look, we have both the zones available to summon. So now I'm going to bring Nabla onto the board, and now we're going to use Nabla's effect, tribute Wicked. Best to do Wicked, and you'll see why in a moment. And now we're going to get Diameter. So now we have the materials for Alan Bersham. We're just going to go into that standard mathmech line, and then grab another circular in this case off of that. So, and it's quite nice we had the negate from Diameter, but if your opponent had interruption at this point, he definitely would have used it. So you're going to add circular to your hand, and then we're going to proceed with the 1-card combo from there. So we're going to mill Sigma. And the reason why I got rid of Wicked is because Sigma can just, resummon it by its own effect. You don't have to do that. If you feel like you want to save Sigma in case for the later rounds, you need that body that can resummon itself. I completely understand that, but for me, I'm not really too fussed. So I'm going to go. Also, you don't have to go. The ideal end board right now is that we're just going to go into access code, but I like to make splash code and then go into access code using just these 2 bodies. And that way we keep Alan Bersham. It's not a difference at all, if I'm being honest. When I think about it, it doesn't really add as much value, but it's nice to have 2 bodies. Now, I don't play G-Golem in this deck, but if you want to play G-Golem, it is quite good to have, you know, a second body. You might get it from Laplation as well, but it is just good to have that second body, and then you can get G-Golem, get Transcode back, and then make either a bigger Transcode Talker, sorry, Access Code Talker, or just have extra bodies so they can all attack at once. So that's pretty much the benefit of that, in my opinion. But essentially, this is it. This is the end board. Now, bear in mind, this deck is not built for, well, it's designed, that's how I should really describe it. It is designed to be a lot more consistent. So you ending with the cards of Ladybug and just code generating a hand, very, very unlikely. And that's why it's so good that this deck has such a consistent, you know, backup line, which is V-LAN Hydra. That's the only time you're ever going to see this card. If you have Lady Debug and then Code Generator or Microcoder, then you have the necessary means to get into this end board. Now, my overall conclusion of this deck, I used to play this variation before Terahertz came out, and it was fantastic. It's so consistent. But now that players know how to anticipate Super Factorial as well as Signet Conflict, I feel like this deck needs extra power to actually power through a lot of the game. So stuff like Runic and Sprite can really play through all of our negates. I even have a separate video on that you should go check out, because it's a lot easier to see where you should time your negates. But we never really want to be in that position, and the fact that we don't get Heat Soul means that we lose a little bit of card economy. Like, I have this Circular in hand, but this could be any other card and doesn't place as much value. You know, you're very much relying on your top deck now, but you would never really have to worry about it with this deck. So if you prefer consistency and you feel like this end board is strong enough to take on, you know, most of the decks, then by all means stay with this, you know, combo line. I think it's fantastic either way. But for myself, I just prefer, you know, having Terahertz on board. He's an extra negate as well from Aggregator if you know, time it properly. And then of course, he is a massive body, so your opponent has to deal with him. And if he doesn't, then it's a really easy OTK line for us. I prefer it a lot more. I'm just a lot happier with it. And I like to play other cards in here, like Deck Lockdown. I really like taking the risk. I feel like the reward really pays off as well. And when I brick, like, it is what it is, like best of one format, and can't really change much. So I prefer to take the risk, but if you like to play it safe, this deck is super, super consistent. I have to highlight that. 3 Lady Debug and 3 Microcoder, and you're likely to see a lot of your level 4 MATHMECH bodies. You can get into both lines really, really easily. But this is the end of the video. I'm not going to go into it any further, but if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. And if you like the video, please leave a like and please leave a subscribe. It really tells me if you enjoy it and you enjoy the content as well. If you have any questions, just shoot them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help you. But anyway, thanks again for watching and have a great day. Bye.